welcome back, everyone. This week's Picture of the Week is being brought to you by Flowers Deer Processing, and I can only say that till Sunday because deer season is officially over in this great state of Tennessee, and it will go and revert back to Flowers Garden Center. Hey, if you happen to get a deer, or one of the youngsters do, go by and check out Flowers at 4450 Eatons Creek Road, and tell Mike Flowers you heard about a guy backed up to drop off a deer and hit his accelerator instead of hitting the brake and ran over Mike and pushed Mike into a big freezer in a wall. So he is a little bit on the sore side. Nothing's broken. He's all right. He's just sore. But if you see him, to say, Mike, we know why you're sitting in that chair. You're not getting up.
He doesn't count for another buck, does he?
No, he doesn't count for that. He doesn't go against your buck tag. All right, here, I got to show you a couple of pictures of my good friend, Judge Mallory. Judge is right here. He's on Percy Priest. That one there weighed 678 out on Percy Priest. He got the first big place, big fish on that one. And you'll see his next one here. If you notice, he's wearing shorts. That was in December, and he was catching some monsters. He was on some big fish there on Percy Priest. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Percy Priest is a little bit undersung there. It is a great fishery, though.
It absolutely is.
Lots of good fish there. All right, our next picture here. This is my good friend out there on Nickajack. I still tell you, and I tell you this each and every week, Nickajack is a sleeper lake. That is 5 fish right there that he caught, or 4, I see 4, but he caught some monsters. But you're going to see the next picture here, his wife's holding the big one. She caught the big one. So out of the 5, he had about 22 pounds there out of 5 fish at Nickajack. And we cross over that all the time. We never think about fishing it. It is a great fishery.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place. All right, and then we got to give you this one. My good friend and your good friend, David McMurray with Nashville Marine. This is one of his buddies' grandson. This is Cameron McGuire. And that is a nice buck that he took. And he shot it with a 30-06, so pretty good job for a little fella to sport that kind of rifle around. Not going to mess with him myself. You can send your pictures to me here at Southern Woods and Waters, 474 James Robinson Parkway, Nashville, Tennessee, 37219, or simply email them to me here at southernwoodsandwaters.com. We'll get them on here really fast for you. So let's do that then. And then we've got with us tonight, I've got Joey Monteleone. I tell you what, Joey, if you've never been to one of his seminars, you owe it to yourself to go. He puts good tips in there, good techniques, teaches you a lot, but you leave laughing like a baby. I love it. I get to go to his seminars a lot, and I listen to him. You're great. You're a great spokesman for the sport.
I appreciate that.
You are awesome. You've been doing this. You do it out of love for it. You're like me, or I'm like you, or whatever. We do it because we love it. And it shows.
It does. I mean, when you can be enthusiastic, I'm going to be 65 next month, and when you can contain that enthusiasm or maintain that enthusiasm, I say it's kind of like when you watch a float dancing around, you're catching bluegill, everybody turns into a 10-year-old.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get excited. It's like big bass are my love, and it's what I've tried to really work on. I've tried to, I call it cracking the code to figure out what makes those big ones tick. But I just want to get bit like everybody else, and it really is. It's fun, and when you get to teach somebody, you said this earlier, and it really stuck with me because our legacy lives on through the people that we're teaching. Right. And it really is. It's really fulfilling when somebody comes back to the boat show and says, you know, I tried what you said, and I caught my biggest fish. Let me show you the picture. It's like, man, the checks are all cash. That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. You're exactly right. I believe that wholeheartedly. What we give back, I mean, my grandfather taught me everything I know about hunting and fishing at a young age. Now, I still learn. I go to your seminars. I go to David Genevico. I listen to all these great fishermen around me. And I try to pick up little bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. And I try to piece it together to where it fits me.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Because if you're fishing and it's not fun, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
Same way with hunting. If you get out there and it's kind of like, we don't have to feel like every time we come out there we're dragging out an 8 or 10 point buck. It's kind of like, man, did you see? I saw a bobcat for the first time in a long time when I was in my tree stand. I just enjoyed watching that thing.
That made your day.
It absolutely did.
It does me. It makes my day. I saw the fattest squirrel I've ever laid my eyes on this year attack a corn cob. and I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't get any better than
Or you see an owl swoop through and grab something. And I always say that's why God gave us memories, because you can only take so many pictures.
Yes.
You know, whatever that's emblazoned in your mind, it's like that never leaves. And it's what spurs you on. It's kind of like playing golf. You know what golf is, don't you? That's for people who don't lie well enough to fish.
That's what I'm thinking. I haven't found any way you can cook that thing.
Yeah, well, you know, those eggs get a little hard. People go golf because they have 1 or 2 good holes. They want to continue because of that, because they get a little frustrated sometimes. But when you go hunting and fishing, I mean, again, if you're not having a good time, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong, because it's what we were made to do, as far as I'm concerned.
Now I'm gonna be honest with you, Joey. This is where the honesty comes out. When it's 7 degrees and the wind's 20 miles an hour and it's blowing up my dress and I'm 20 feet up a tree, I'm ready to go to the house.
I can stick around for a little while.
I ain't sticking around all day.
January 1st, I was out there fishing, and we had a north wind, and you know, north wind means it's going to be cold. South wind means it's probably going to be a little nicer. My hands got to the point where they were burning because they were so cold, and I caught a fish. And you know what happens after that? Don't get hungry, don't get tired, don't get cold. It's like, I'm just looking for that next bite. That's right.
Fishing.
That's
I'm
right.
Fishing. We this Nashville boat show, you're going to be able to go in there. We're going to give away a pack of 4 tickets here in one of our segments too. So make sure you try and go there. But come by and see Joey. Joey, you're doing how many seminars now?
I'm doing 4. I'm doing Friday night. I'm doing 7 o'clock Big Bass.
Okay.
I'm going to do another one at 1 o'clock. How to stock your tackle box. And I bring the tackle that I use. I mean, there's lines still tied to these. And I've got one crankbait I call One-Eyed Willie. When things get really tough, I throw Willie out there. I can catch a fish on him.
Catch a fish.
So I mean, I bring the baits that I use. It doesn't bother me what you buy. I want to show you how to use that. So how to stock your tackle box, how to choose it, how to use it. At 4 p.m., this is cool. Susan Thrasher and I, Susan, who is a trout fishing guide on the Caney, we're doing one just called Go Fish. We're just going to go out there and talk about fishing.
That's awesome.
And then at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, I'm going to do Up a Creek with a paddle. I'm going to talk about kayak fishing, but we'll talk about anything people want to talk about. So I'm bringing the stuff I use. We're going to do some casting classes. We're going to have a kids' corner. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. And I'm probably going to give away a few really cool things.
I bet you will.
I
know you will.
I am.
I know you will. But is there other seminars going on?
There's seminars, you know, again, Frank Fiss is doing. It's probably about every hour and a half, and we've got a lady from the Lady Bass Anglers Association. It's going to talk about tournament bass fishing for women. We've got again the Florida strain bass, the boating thing. We've got Bill Medley's out there talking about noodle fishing for catfish, show you how to make those noodles, those pool noodles. And again, Susan Thrasher's talking about fly fishing and trout.
That's going to be awesome. I want to talk about, for just a second, you briefly talked about the F1 strain. You and I are still with the same. We've talked to the biologists.
Right.
I know you have extensively.
Right.
I have extensively.
Right.
Bobby Wilson is a really close friend of mine, and we've talked extensively about this F1. It's time for our fishermen to get with the program and understand it's not for every piece of water we have in this state.
The logical thing for people, what really helps them understand is you can't take that fish and put it in Minnesota.
No.
So somewhere between here and Minnesota, there's a line of demarcation that says that fish won't survive there. They can become catfish food. It's not like those old little things you got out of the gumball machine when you pour water on them and they get bigger.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. That's a Florida strain bass that takes a specific kind of water and maintain a certain kind of water temperature. And we've got a lot of people in the fishing community that understand this. And we're not knocking the people that don't. What we want to do is bring that understanding to people. Right. So if you want to find, they'll tell you where they're stocking those fish if that's where you want to go. If you want to go.
Tennessee River system is going to be stocked with already started.
Kentucky Lake, Williamsport's lakes. There's several of our local.
Cumberland River system is a no.
And they because they won't make it there. They will thrive under the other environments. And you can look at Chickamauga. If you think that 16-pound record's going to stand, I'll tell you right now,
it's not.
It won't make it through the year. I'll bet you it doesn't make it through the year because those fish are there, and they're there because it's the right. You got to have with a bass, it needs oxygen because it's got to breathe. It needs food. it needs cover, and it wants deep water close by. When you find those 4 criteria, you know this, Hugh, just as well as I do. You can go it's on. And then when you take that fish out, it's like you sell in your house. Another fish moves in.
That's right.
If that fish dies, another fish moves in. The smallest compacted area that holds those 4 criteria are going to hold big bass always.
Why is it, and you know as well as I do, these professional bass fishermen, why do they do so well all the time? They find those places.
Right.
They catch their 5. They take them in. They weigh them. The next day, they come back. Because why?
Those are going to restock themselves.
Restock
themselves. They restore themselves because, you know, it's kind of like you look at a place that's got a lot of rock. Well, bass love crawfish. I call them Red Bull for bass.
Yeah.
They're high energy food. For every 5 pounds of crawfish a bass eats, it gains a pound. It'll eat shad because they're more available. It'll eat minnows because they're more available. Given a choice and a chance, they'll eat crawfish every time.
Well, they're like Lay's potato chips. You can't just eat just one.
You got that right. You got that right.
When you want that steak, that crawfish is the mainstay.
So you go where the crawfish live. I mean, it really is. It's a lot simpler than most people want to think. And
we think too much.
Well, it's kind of like with me. I don't use electronics, and I'm not opposed to people do. I just say don't let it separate you from your senses. So they say, well, how do you figure out how deep the water is? I said I use a 7.5-foot rod. I let the line down till it curls. When it curls, I know it's hit the bottom. I raise it up. If it's more than 2 rod lengths, I'm in the wrong spot. And I said, well, what are you doing fishing in 25 feet of water? I said, heck, I stay home and watch cartoons.
That's right.
I don't know how to catch fish in 25 feet of water.
I have, but you're right. I'm a 10-foot and less.
You're a power fisherman.
I love 10-foot and less.
Right. They're aggressive. They're shallow because they're either spawning or eating. That's good work if you can get it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
They're there because they're ready to eat.
That's right.
And they will migrate back out usually to the next big secondary structure. Like when we get cold fronts, like it's been warm, and those fish have been in places where you normally find them in March or so.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it gets cold, those fish are going to gravitate out to the next major structure point, whether that's the end of a point, a contour, a stump field, whatever it is. They move out to the next thing. And if you find the bait, you find the fish.
That's it. All right, we're going to take another quick break right now and visit some of the fine folks that make this show available to you each and every week. Till then, go get you something to drink. Come right back, though, because we got more of Joey in Southern Woods and Waters.